Hey everybody, welcome to the Brandmaster channel. Hope you all are having a good day today. This is day 3 in our journey through level 1. Let's go ahead and get started. As you can see, we got our rating to 1117 yesterday, and we got that puzzle rush at 15. So let's go ahead and start off with a little puzzle rush action, and then we'll try to get above 1200. Once we do that, then I'll start making the puzzle rushes go to 30, and start doing 30 puzzle rushes a day each time. So let me go ahead and get the puzzle rush going. Okay, black to move. Okay, are we in check? No. Do we have a check? Yes, I see we have 3 checks in the position. 1, 2, 3. I think if we go here or here, the rook can just take us, and we just lose a queen. Now, we can take the rook with check. The king can't escape, but he has one piece he can block with. It's going to be this queen. He can go queen here to block the check. But then our queen can take, and then we'll be attacking the king, and there's no way to get out of it, and that'll be the checkmate. Okay. Are we in check? No. Do we have a check? I see 1. And the king can't escape. The only option left is to block with the queen right there, but then we're going to take that and checkmate him. Okay. Are we in check? No. Do we have a check? Yes. Let's see how many we got. I see 2 of them. We have here, and we have here. If we go here, he probably escapes that way. I'm not sure. He could also bring his bishop back to block us, forcing us to move our queen again. Let's look at the other check just to see if anything happens there. So, queen check. The king can't escape, and there's no pieces to block with, so that's actually going to be checkmate right there. Are we in check right now? No. Our king is safe. Do we have any checks? Yes, I see 1. Rook here would be a check. And I see the king has no escape squares. And there's no way to get rid of the rook, so that's going to be checkmate. I hope you're noticing a theme here. Literally, all the puzzles, so including this one, are basically the same exact theme, almost. Now, this one's an ending, so it might look a little weirder than the other 3, but it's basically the same exact idea. So, first of all, do we have a check? Well, first, sorry, back up. Are we in check? No. It's important to get that order straight. You want to make sure you're not in check before you do anything else. That's priority number 1. Priority number 2, do we have any checks in the position? So I see 1. We have here. And what I notice is our king is they moved into our central square here for our king. So our king is basically blocking off the king's escape. So when we put the rook here, it's actually going to be checkmate because the king has no way to get out, and they can't do anything about the rook. Okay, are we in check? No. Do we have any checks? Yes, I see we have 3. Wait, hold on. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I see 3 checks. So we got bishop here, rook here, and rook here. If I put the bishop here, he can just take it, and that seems like that's going to be bad. If I put the rook here, he can take it with the bishop. That seems bad. If I go rook here, we are going to check the king. And it looks like our pawn is controlling this square. Our bishop's controlling this square. So when I check the king here, the king won't have anywhere to escape. Even if it takes this pawn, the rook will still capture the king and win that exchange. So this is actually going to be checkmate. Alright. Are we in check right now? No. Do we have a check? I see we have 2 checks in the position. We have queen... Whoop. We have queen here, and we have queen here. If I go queen here, he probably goes here. And then we're going to go here and probably checkmate him there. That's a mate in 2. But I noticed we could just go here straight away. And it's probably... See here, we're attacking the king, and he has no escape squares. So I think both moves are fine. I'm not seeing a reason why one or the other is bad. Oh, I see why. There is a reason why. Do you know? Did you find it? Pause the video if you didn't find the reason why queen here doesn't work. There's a very important reason. So in that line, they can actually put the queen on d6, which would block the check, and it also pins our queen to the king. So now they're going to force a queen trade, and they're going to be fine in that position. So we do need to play this move, which is just mate in 1. I mean, even if that resource wasn't there, this is still the faster mate anyways, but now we know why that mate didn't even work. Okay. Are we in check? No. Do we have any checks? Yes, I see we have 3 checks in the position. We have pawn here, and we have rook here. If I bring the rook here, he'll just take that, and that's going to be bad. If I play pawn here, he can take here. I'm going to lose a pawn, and I'm going to be in check and have to move backwards. That doesn't seem good. Okay, now, if I go here, it attacks the king. This pawn is cutting off this square. My king is cutting off, and pawn is cutting off these squares. And the rook is cutting off these squares. So by moving the pawn here to check him, it actually is checkmate because he has no escape squares. Alright. So here, let's see, are we in check? No. Do we have any checks? I see we have 5 checks in the position. No, sorry. We have 6 checks in the position. 6 checks in the position. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. If I go here, he can take the queen, and that would be bad. I don't see a follow-up there. If I go here, he can take the queen, and that's probably going to be bad as well. I don't really see I mean, we have this check here, so maybe we should look at that, but let's look at the other checks real quick. Knight here, he can just take. And my queen, maybe I can take with the queen, but I don't really know what that does. So let's go ahead and look at, well, if I take either of these, they can take back the queen, and again, I don't know what I'm, maybe in this scenario, if they take with the queen, I can go here, but they can just move the king up, and it's basically just going to trade everything. Alright, so what happens if I go knight here? Now, the king has only one escape squared there, so they can't get rid of the knight, which is checking the king. And they only have, the queen's blocking off all these squares, so the only escape square for the king when the knight gets here is going to be right here. And notice in that moment, this bishop is now blocked by the king. So now, when we go queen here, the pawn supports our queen, and they can't take back with the bishop. And because the knight's now controlling this square, it's actually checkmate because he has no escape squares and he can't get rid of the queen. This is an example of why finding all the checks is a good idea, because this, you know, recognizing what this bishop was doing, and also finding the checks later on. Okay, maybe my last statement wasn't good. I mean, in general, it's definitely important to recognize all the checks, but yeah. So I'm just gonna, yeah, always try to at least look at all the checks in the position and try to briefly dismiss the ones that you know are not going to be good. And then if you're constantly considering all the checks, then you're more likely to find better resources down the line. So here, if I go knight check, he goes here, queen here, and that's going to be the mate. Okay. Are we in check? No. Do we have any checks? I see we have 4 of them. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. If I go here, he can take, and I'd be losing a queen. And if he takes back, rook takes, king takes. Yeah, I don't see how we're going to take advantage of that. If I go knight here, he can take with the knight. And again, I don't know what I'm doing there. I could go here, but it looks like he can go that way. I'm not sure how I can... Maybe I can win a bishop there. That's something to consider. But he is also threatening queen here, which could be pretty annoying. Notice we have 2 pieces on the board and they have 4. So even if we did win this piece, we're still down a piece in that line. So we're still losing that in that game. So when you see a good move, look for one that's better. That's a common saying that people say in chess. So there's one last check that we didn't look at, which was queen here. And it attacks the king. It's supported by the rook, so the king can't take. And the king has no escape squares, so that's going to be checkmate. Okay. Are we in check? No. Do we have any checks? I see 1. We have bishop here. And I notice the king has no escape squares. If he blocks with the pawn, we can take. And again, he has no escape squares and he has no pieces to block with, so that's actually going to be the checkmate. Now, he can take with the knight, but our bishop was protected by the queen, so now we can take the knight with our queen with check. And The king has no escape squares. Their only other option is to block. And then after queen takes pawn, that's going to be mate. Okay. Are we in check right now? No. Do we have any checks? Yes. This one's gonna be this is a tough one for the checks. So I would definitely pause the video for this one to test yourself if you find them all. So let's see. It's a test for me too, by the way. So I'm also sitting here trying to figure it out before you do. um, 3, 4, 5, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. I think my answer is going to be 8. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, I think it's 8. Hopefully I'm right. I'm doubting myself for this one too, because that's a lot of checks in this position, so I think I got them all there. So let's go with 8 for now. Um, if you end up proving I'm wrong later on, then oh well, part of the fun. So now the queen's so the queen. If I go here, here, or here, queen can take. So here, here, queen just takes, and I'm down a, or even pawn takes queen, and I'm down a queen in that line. If I go here, he could take with a bishop, and I'm losing a queen there. I can go here or here. I think in both of those lines they can block with the queen. And if I take, notice they're winning right now. They have 3 pawns to our 1. So if queens come off the board, then it's very possible this game will end. White will win. Now, if you haven't noticed yet, their queen is hanging, so we can actually just take that queen if we want to. So, but before we even consider the capture, we're going to look at the checks first, because checks are a little bit more forcing and can possibly lead to a checkmate if we play our cards right here. So if I play knight check, so we can win the queen for free. So I think here, oh, we can't even move. We can't even move the knight because it's pinned to our king. The queen is pinning our knight to our king. If the knight moves, then the king would get captured and we'd lose the game. So we can't move the knight. So actually, I was wrong with the checks because I initially said here and here. And those 2 checks were wrong because I can't move my knight. So I have 6 checks in the position, not 8. And listen, in chess, it's better to admit your mistakes than making the mistakes. You know, like if you, I rather just admit that I messed up with those checks than accidentally play that move and then get like killed on the board. You know, get I lose on the game. You know. All right, so if I go here, pawn takes. All right, maybe I go here. Queen block. Okay. I'm not really seeing a clear check that does anything here. So, the next option is taking the queen. Seems like the right approach. Now, it's important to recognize if their king is trapped, and if white has no legal moves in the position, it could end up in a draw. So it's important just to take a second to make sure you're not accidentally gonna make your winning position turn into a draw. So if I take here, the king can't, well, the king can go here, the bishop's still in the game, and this pawn can move. So in this case, we're free, I think we're free to take this guy. And I think in the long run, this is going to work out for us. I know that was a long explanation just to win a queen, which was kind of obvious, but taking that time in these puzzles to really sort out what's going on will pay dividends in the long run, because the faster you can go through that thought process in a game, the more likely you're going to win. If you're just rushing through the positions, you're more likely to miss important details and going to lose that game. Not always, but more often than not, having the right mindset while you're playing is going to be huge. Okay. Are we in check? No. Do we have any checks? I don't see any. So, we got to look for captures. Can we capture anything here? You can capture a pawn, but we would just get captured back. I don't see a really good follow-up in that line. Now, I do see if we move our pawn, our bishop would attack the queen and the rook. So that's a different form of an attack. Almost like a discovery tactic. A discovery tactic is when you move one piece and unleash an attack on others. So here when I move the pawn, now the queen has a higher point value, so it doesn't, they don't want to trade bishop for queen because they would lose 6 points. So they're probably, so they basically have to move the queen out of the way, and then we would be able to win the rook on the next turn. Okay, now briefly just consider if they take here. Yeah, we're going to have doubled pawns, but it's going to actually support our e-pawn pretty well, making it hard for this bishop to get in the game. And they could also take this pawn, but still we're winning a rook in that line. So I think that's pretty good. Okay. So, here we are. So, are we in check? No. Do we have any checks? I see 3 of them. We have 1, 2, 3. If I go here, he can just take. That's probably bad. If I go here, he can take with the rook. That's probably bad. So let's look at this one. Queen check. If he goes here, He's going to be stuck behind his pawns, and I can play queen e8. And we check the king. He has no escape squares. If he takes, we're going to be able to take back with our rook, checkmating him. Now, he can also go here. If he does, now we look for more checks, and I see we have 3 checks. Let's see. No, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 checks in that position. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Sorry, we have 6 in that position. I missed one. Dang. Okay. Anywho, when he goes here, I'm leaning towards this check already, because I already if I go here, he can take my queen, and if I take with the rook, he'll take with the king. So the king and rook make 2 defenders, and we'll have 2 attackers. We need more attackers than defenders for an attack on a square to usually work out. So, if we go here, this just loses the queen. I think all 3 of these, this one, and this one will lose the queen. If we go here, that loses the queen as well because of queen takes. So really the only check to consider is going to be here. And as you start solving these, you're going to start quickly identifying the checks that are more likely to work out. Like, when I get here, I'm kind of, the first check that comes to your mind is probably going to be this one eventually. It should. It just sticks out. Like, it kind of feels like the move that should work for some reason. Maybe it's just experience. I don't know. But, like, it's just one of those things where as you do these more often, you'll start to get a feel for what checks to start looking at more first. Now, it's important to, go through them and then try to look through all the checks anyways. Because if you try to rush through the move sometimes, you still might miss something. So, but if you can quickly see, like, here, okay, if I go here, he's just going to have to go back, and then I can actually win the rook in that line. So now I'm up a rook with check. He's probably going to have to go here, and in the long term, it seems like I'm going to checkmate him there. I haven't calculated it all out, but I just won a rook, and I have a lot of checks in that position. That seems like it's going to be really good for me, so I don't really need to calculate any further, like, precisely. I can just, on a general level, I can tell I'm going to be up a rook, and I'm going to be checking him and probably winning the game. Alright. If you're not confident in that, definitely, when in doubt, calculate it. Don't rush, especially in the beginning, because that's going to be where you make the most mistakes. Now here, let's see, are we in check? No. Do we have any checks? Yes, I see we have 1, 2, 3. I see 3 checks in the position. 1, 2, 3. I lied. There's 4. I hope you caught that. So, the 4th one, and the most important one. So, in your mind, you might already notice that these rooks are connected. So, the rook is controlling this square and this square. The king is basically trapped. So your mind might have already kind of jumped to this pawn move because it would check the king and they have no escape squares. If not, then what you would do is you would look at all the checks here and be like, this loses a rook. They can play pawn takes. I can go, so, you know, and then you'd probably jump over here and be like, well, I can push the pawn with check, and actually they don't have any escape squares here, so actually that's going to be checkmate. Alright, last puzzle. So here, are we in check? No. Definitely the puzzle rush today seems like it's all this type of theme here. Basically the theme is pushing the king back behind his pawns and then basically taking advantage of that to mate him. So notice if the king is on the edge, it's a lot harder to mate him behind his pawns. So this theme really highlights the importance of what happens if you don't give your king enough escape squares. So here, we solved so many today that I feel like we could just like solve it now and not really need to explain it. So queen here, he has to go there, and then we just get the mate. And that's what's going to happen with these puzzle rushes. Pretty soon, you know, if I see like we're doing the same tactic over and over and over and over and over, I'm going to start not explaining them because I've already done that. And I feel like once you're at enough times, you should be already seeing these ideas as well. Especially if you're doing like 25 tactics a day. At least. Maybe more, depending on how ambitious you are. You should definitely start seeing those soon. If not, no worries, man. You'll get it. You know, it's all about just putting in the work, keep doing it. And then try to figure out where you're going wrong too, you know, reflect on why you're not seeing certain things. You know, each person's different. So you kind of have to figure out your own struggles of why you're not picking things up. But we went ahead and got our puzzle rush down. Now we're going to play some games. Oh, okay. I had some music playing. I don't know why it shut off there. But now the music's back. I'm going to be putting down, I think, 2 or 3 albums. I'm not sure yet. The first one's like a rock type theme. It's kind of a variety of different rocks, like punk rock and a lot of like metalish vibes. Frankenstein! That's the name of my dog. My dog's excited to play too. Anyways, yeah, 2 albums coming out pretty soon, maybe 3, I don't know. One's gonna be a rock theme. It's a lot of different variety of rock, so I would definitely go through the whole thing and try it out, because each one's gonna be kind of different. Some are like more pop, some are more punk, some are more like heavy guitar. And then these, like this is gonna be my second album where it's mainly just like sounds. Like some of them are guitar, like rock sounds, and some of them are gonna be more electric sounds. Like maybe as we go, you'll start hearing some of them. Like this right here is like one of the rock type sounds on my second album. I don't know. I just like this sound sometimes, like especially when I'm playing a game, especially one where it feels like I'm building up to something and it's like getting ready to fight the boss or whatever. It's like, and I could never really find music to really that other people made, so So I decided to just make my own, so I can, you know, have my own sound going, you know. And if other people like it too, great. I'm happy if you're happy. Alright, enough of my real spiel. Let's go ahead and get the party started. 11-17, let's bring it up. Playing our setup here. Got the French defense with e4. Okay, got the exchange variations. From here we just keep it simple. Alright, they're checking us. Well, I'm gonna block with the bishop, because I know I want my knight here. Okay, now we castle. Now... probably bishop here, does it make sense? Now, notice I didn't rush with c6. You can play c6, it's probably fine, but I don't really have a reason to yet. So I'm kind of holding off until I need to play that move. So here, I kind of want to play it now just to get my queen out over here. He castled this way, so if my queen's on this side, it might be more likely for me to attack him over there. So let's get that c6 move in. This guy's playing pretty fast. So far. Our ratings are like the same, except for one digit is like off. Okay. Now, this is a pretty good way for him to play. He's castled queen side, he built a little attack on the king side, but you know, he hasn't got all his pieces in the game yet. I'm gonna go ahead and... so, let's see, if I play here, and he plays f4, he's gonna be threatening to trap my bishop. So, if he does that, I might have to go bishop here to protect my bishop. So it's important to kind of recognize that. Yep, see there it is. So now he can trap my bishop if he wants to on the next turn, which he probably will. So we gotta take a moment to... I don't want to play this because here and here would be a little weird. I'm not sure if I like that position. I go knight. Now, briefly look at knight here for a second. If he goes here trapping, we do have this move, which would fork the queen and the rook. So, if we did win that rook, he'd probably take our pawn, and he'll end up getting 2 pieces for a rook and pawn, which is 6 points. But generally the knight and bishop work a little, because you have 2 whole pieces versus 1 piece and a pawn. I think the 2 pieces end up working out a lot better. The safest move here is probably this, so that's what we're going to play. Okay. Now I'll bring my knight into the game. Now we are threatening the same fork, but now we don't have... now we're not losing a piece. So he has to try to do something about that. I'm eyeing up possibly going queen here. Okay, that move makes sense. I could do this to take the bishop if I wanted to, but I'm not sure. Notice if I play queen here, I'm hanging my knight. Now, that's not the end of the story here. Always look a little bit deeper. If he goes there, I can take this pawn. And notice that our knight is covering this escape square. So in that line, he might just be... that might just be a forced checkmate there. So we're going to play that move just to see if he goes wrong. Even if he doesn't fall for it, our queen's still in a really good spot here. Okay, so he didn't fall for it. And that's good. Now I can take this. I could also just bring my knight over here. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna try to kick that knight out with f6. And then try to bring my knight over here. Okay. So, another forkable square, but I don't see anything yet. We gotta play a little faster now, so I'm gonna just play this move. Can't go here. Maybe he goes there, but I could trade down, and actually I would be winning a pawn in that line. Okay, he's going there. Okay, I'm gonna bring my other knight into the game like this. Now we're really cooking up some pressure here. So, nothing, I don't see anything major yet, but honestly, if we lost that pawn, that would probably be really good for us. But to be honest, I don't know. Rook takes. Not sure what that does. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. Maybe I can push this and just like if I can make this trade happen, that might be good for me. So let's do it. Now, if he takes, I can take this way, and that would open up my rook. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay. Now I have the now he's attacking my queen. So knight takes. Probably knight takes. Okay, so I'm thinking knight takes, knight takes, knight takes, rook takes, and then maybe bishop here. Attack the pawn. And if he moves the rook, I have a mate right there. So let's do it. Even if not, we still got an equalish position. I probably could have played that better, but you know, everything's still fine. Yeah, he guarded the pawn, so I'm gonna bring the rook over. Maybe play something like this. Or here. So what happens if I go rook here? I don't know. I don't have a lot of time to really think about it. Let's see, rook here. Yeah, I don't think that does anything, so... So if I go here, you can bring out the bishop. Maybe I go here. Try to break this open. Probably has to go here. Well, actually, if I go here, if he goes here, I can take that. And I'll be up a pawn there. I'm gonna do that. If he goes this way, I can actually take this one. And even if I don't capture anything, maybe getting another rook like that will be good. Yeah. I like this, because now I'm going to bring this rook in like this. So even though he gets like bishop here potentially, I think queen here... Oh, I messed up because I blocked in my queen. So maybe pushing this pawn was actually a bad move. because the queen was also kind of playing. Let's see. If I go here, I can block. But then I win this pawn. So it depends. If he blocks here, takes, he has to play bishop takes in that line. Because if queen takes, I capture this pawn. Okay. Let's go here. And try to go after that guy. He doesn't have any checks to win my rook, so that's an important detail. Okay, bishop here. Just do it. We don't have a lot of time to think about it, so me explaining the moves has really given me a time problem. Okay. So again, any moment he moves this pawn's gonna fall. So this queen's tied down, which is going to be a huge problem for him. He probably has to just do that so he can free up. Now, if I go here, he can go here. And I gotta try to not... There's a lot of problems there. Yeah. So I don't want to let him get his queen down here. So I'm actually going to play this move. And then if I get him to go this way... Okay. Probably going to let him take me. So now I'm going to go here. Go after this guy. Okay, gonna take with the pawn because this diagonal is really dangerous for me at the moment. Okay, it's probably a good move because it tries to attack this, and it also now I can, if I guard one, he's gonna win the other, I think. We're in trouble here, guys. Pawn here, he could take this with check, so I gotta give up. I gotta give up the pawn. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give myself an escape square. Okay, he's going after that. I don't think that's the right approach. Because now I think we might be able to hold on to the pawn. I can play bishop takes. I'm going to go here. It's going to force me to go in the wrong direction, which every tactic puzzle we did today said not to do. But basically, I'm going to go here and then try to get my king this way. Okay. So now we're going to go here. Oh, we're getting mated. Queen here, and then here is going to be the mate. Yep, first loss of the day. Or of the series. Hey, power to him. He played good. GG. Probably just messing around at this point. Got the bishop mate. That's pretty cool. So this is definitely one we want to analyze. So let's take a look at it. Alright, so 100%. I'm pretty sure we were better out of the opening. Like, maybe not 100%. Sorry, that was too strong. So right here, we're doing well. Okay, it didn't like the fact that I dropped my bishop back here. The whole g4 idea was definitely pretty good. So it'd rather me just go here, which saves me time. So when they castle queenside and try to attack my bishop like that, if I can save time by bringing the bishop back this way, then it's going to give me more time to then get my own attack going. Because I ended up wasting 2 moves getting the bishop all the way back here. And this is something he kind of wanted to play anyways, because he castled queenside, so the learning opportunity here is look for moves that don't speed up your opponent's play. Okay. So in this moment here, like, I would probably consider playing this move myself. But now he can play knight here and... Okay. b5. Bishop b4. So, I mean, I kind of like b5. It makes sense because he castled queenside, so if we can launch some pawns at him on the queenside, that would make sense. And the problem with knight here right away is maybe this bishop gets too claustrophobic. Again, if you ever played f4 and f5, I might run into some issues there. Okay. Anyways, let's see how the game went. So here, 95. He played f4, which made sense. Bishop b. So bishop b4, knight takes e5. Oh, Bishop b4 was the only move in the position. So this move just lost. And he took. So somehow, so in this position right here, if he just goes rook g1 for some reason, we're just getting crushed here. Okay, let's turn the engine off. Let's just make... I kind of jumped the gun here on this analysis. I tend to do that when I lose. Sometimes I kind of get a little discombobulated. So let me refocus here. This is what not to do when you lose. Let me start over. Let me just get rid of this. Okay. So now we're just going to look at it like this. Okay, we got our French defense. Early check. We block with the bishop and develop normally. And so he developed in a way where he can castle queenside. So here, I decided to get the bishop in the game. Now this check was actually pretty smart, because he knew he wanted to play knight c3, and a lot of times bishop here is a good reaction to it. So this check, if I play here, he can play this move without worrying about that move for a while. But the thing that maybe we need to think about is this queen is awkwardly placed, and down the line, they might need to move it again. They brought the queen out a little early. So, like right here, I could probably consider moving this piece again. Maybe not even now, but in general. And another key point to think about here is if they do castle queenside, maybe putting the bishop here is giving them too much play. Like, the fact that they can kick my bishop back gives them what they want. It gives them that kingside attack that they're looking for. So I should probably hold off on that move. Or play a move like this. So paying attention to my opponent's plan was probably where I went wrong. Because sure, I kind of looked at it piece by piece, but I didn't take a full moment to go ahead and think about what he was doing, you know. Bishop here, there should have been a signal in my mind, in our minds, that say, well, okay, so he's probably going to castle queenside. And if he's going to do that, I don't want to give him an attack that's going to be so quick. So let's not do that. Let's start with maybe c6. A move we knew we kind of wanted to play. Maybe not. I mean, there's some lines where you can play c5, but when in doubt, I like c6 here. That's not bad. And it kind of... I'm waiting to see what he does. I can't bring the knight out, because then it would block in my bishop or pawn. I guess I could have considered knight here, but I don't know what that... Even if I get here, this pawn's protected. So I like c6, I think. And then if he does castle king queenside, now we know if I put the bishop here, it's probably going to kick all the way back, and I'm not sure we want that. So now maybe we start like something like this. But we've got to get our other pieces in the game too. So maybe we could start off here. Now, if you're worried about a move like this, for example, which is a valid thing to think about, maybe you spend one move like this, and then... But that also could lead to some problems, because if they continue down the same path, this is going to give them what's called a hook. They can use that pawn that we just moved to break open our kingside, and this might cause problems for us. So, what do we do? So, maybe knight here, we just fall back. If they take us, our pawn structure will be double, but maybe that structure might actually end up doing better against a kingside attack. Maybe. If you're not sure, then don't go for it. Instead, we need to figure out something else. Maybe we just do this for now. No. Let's go ahead and move this here now. And we're threatening to take and damage his structure. So maybe he... So how does he react to that? Well, if he's very passive, he could consider this, but that kind of starts steamrolling in the wrong direction, I think, because maybe we... Well, first, so if we go here, maybe he has this. I can take this. If bishop takes, we have knight here, which would be a really good square for our knight, potentially. I can go queen here. And I'm threatening bishop takes and queen takes pawn. But then maybe he just goes here. Or here. And after bishop takes, it would attack our queen, which wouldn't be good. So, um, yeah, I'm not sure what we're gonna do here. Okay, we block with this bishop, but what happens maybe if we block? So maybe back here. So if I block with the queen, right? If he tries to avoid it. So a key thing to keep in mind is if we go here, he's going to have a check like this. And this could get, we might be losing a pawn there and maybe even more. So actually, let me not I don't think we made any progress with our own analysis. So now this is the part where maybe we look at the computer to see how we can make progress in this opening. Okay. It likes bishop e7. It doesn't like bishop e6. Queen e7. They just develop normally. So bishop e7 was the right way to start. They play knight c3. We could start with knight c6. And after knight f3, bishop g4, maybe. But then they're going to play bishop here. Okay, I'm not sure what's happening there. Could play c6, maybe. And here... Okay. So maybe let's start here. Knight f6. We played that in the game. We can castle. We could play knight c6, c6, h6. Now, we could go here, but I think I want to go here. And if after here... We can't. Okay, castling makes sense. They castle that way. Okay, so I think bringing the bishop out in general is not going to be good. Because they could just, like, kick our bishop around. And we're going to be forced to this passive square. If I go here... It says bishop e6. So if we bring the bishop back anyway in this direction, then we're a little bit better. But I don't know why, is the question. So f4... Maybe it's because it opens up this? Knight f3, knight e4. Okay, okay, that kind of makes sense. Now, what if he just plays the move like this and starts trying to do stuff over there? Bishop e6. So, I think bringing the bishop out will end up, even if it gets here, I think in the long run, it's going to just be a target that allows him to build up on the king side. So I think either we leave so I think we're leaving the bishop here. So either we bring our knight in now, or we just start attacking him on the queen side quickly. So like b5, for example, maybe we can kick that knight out. And if he went down the same road, right? It feels like our attack is a little bit quicker. Maybe he goes here. And now maybe we bring our queen around. He probably plays this to protect. And now maybe we can swing our knight around to put pressure on it. We have knight e4 and knight b6. Okay. So in these lines where he attacks queenside, we want to keep this bishop here because we don't want him to get too much of an attack on the king side. One little idea that maybe I'm thinking about in my mind is like, what happens if we play b6 here? Okay, maybe not here, but like, let's say we castle, right? He plays bishop here, and then we play b6. And my thought is, in this moment, maybe I can trade off my bishop. Since I can't go this way, I can get the bishop out this way. That's what I'm thinking. Right? And then maybe queen e1. Or even here, if you don't want to trade it off too early, that makes sense. So if I go here, what happens? It's okay. It's okay, but usually like we're looking for ways to press a little bit, so So either we keep the bishop here and just develop besides leaving the bishop there, or we play b6 and just bring him out this way. The simpler approach is probably b6 because we can trade off that bishop instead of letting him get the attack. The downside of b6 is going to be it's going to slow down our queenside attack. Since he castled on the queen side, maybe we want to attack him quicker over there. So b6, we're going to have to spend another move for b5 and b4. So it really depends on what you want to go for. Would you rather try to attack him quickly, or would you try to get the bishop in the game? I think for me, well, if we're focusing on solid development, then this way makes more sense to me. Now, here, queen e1, you can take right away, but you don't have to. You can, like, keep developing, but you can't move the knight unless this bishop goes away. Unless you go, like, queen c1, but that could be weird. And if you don't want to deal with that, then just go here. Your bishop is guarding the pawn. It's also controlling e4, and this kind of resembles a structure we go for in the Rubinstein. So maybe I'll go for this in the next line because it's a little bit simpler. See how this line turns out. Well, let's play a few moves just to see. So a3, knight here, maybe g4. See, they're building up an attack. So, all right. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna play. We can play rook e8, bishop e4, or c6. So what happens after rook e8? He castles queenside. C6 or bishop b4. So bishop b4 makes sense. Maybe he guards it like this. Okay, maybe now we play it. See, I don't like making... Well, I do... So, this was kind of a good move because it forced him to move the queen again. And notice the bishop's still getting blocked, so he's probably going to have to move it another time. So now he plays c6. Maybe he plays a3. Okay, so And in general, in these lines, if yeah, this bishop's not moving. So the moves you know you want to play are like c6. I guess I could even consider playing knight first, maybe. And then here. So, all right. If I go here, right? Actually, even more so back here, c6, which is where I wanted to play it. If he castles queenside, we can immediately start attacking him. And I think that's what we're going to do. Because we can't get this bishop in the game. And it seems like we need to really start. We have an. This is the moment where we have an opportunity to take advantage of their queenside castle by attacking him on the queenside quickly. If we spend a move putting the bishop over here, it's going to give him too much play, and we don't want that. So for now, we're going to leave that there, and we're going to focus building up on the queen side in these lines where he castles queen side in the exchange French. French exchange, don't move the light squared bishop. Attack on the queen side instead. Good to know. Alrighty. That guy played pretty well. And hey, loses happen. Now this might let's go ahead and put the. I want to see what he got in the study that I did. Just for the final thing here. Let's go to my study. All right, my studies. Ready level 1 analysis. All right, so we're going to add this game here. Okay. Nope, wrong box. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to request a computer analysis. And that way I know how the game turned out according to the computer. So we know what I think we learned what to do in the exchange French when they castle queenside. The knight c3, castle queenside. We leave the bishop where it is, and we focus attacking on the queenside quickly at first. We definitely don't bring our bishop out where it can get attacked on the king side, because that's exactly where he wants to attack us. Sorry, my face is cut off. Okay, so for 81 and 81 accuracy, they had 95. But it's still thinking, so we'll give it a minute. 88 to 79. So yeah, they played really well that game. They made 2 blunders, 1 mistake. What were the blunders? Yeah, because we were... Yeah, that... Okay, yeah, they made 2 blunders. Yeah, this game was so back and forth, because here they were... So we started out doing... We had a slight edge, nothing major. And then it really went in their favor, but then it went back down in our favor. And then it got equal again, but down, 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 and then finally it just like spiked. Like this was like the final moment where I collapsed. So right here, I'm still in the game technically. So the problem was here, so maybe I have to play g6 instead. Oh, sorry. G6 or B3 plus. Sack a pawn. Okay, the move that I played was this one. And what happens is we can try to escape out this way is what I was thinking. And we're still in an equal battle here. So it's never too late to blunder and lose the game quickly. So for me, in the opening, we learned what to do, but also I need to take more time in the ending to make sure I'm not getting checkmated there. He also played really fast, which kind of forced me to think a little bit quicker there. So that was kind of another issue. Time management and the opening is and the end game is where I went wrong. Lot of areas of improvement from that game. But hey, that's why we're doing this. Okay. We're still in 1100 territory, so that's good. Okay, we got the French advance, but on the white side. Okay. If we get the chance to trade off this bishop, we should. Because it's stuck behind these pawns. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and give him a little... So, but I don't want to do that on his terms, so let's play a move I usually play anyways to kind of motivate him into taking for us. And now we're kind of stopping this move. Alright, now f5's on the board. Maybe... Okay. What I'm thinking about is I want to put my knight here eventually. But I don't want him to play this. So either here and here, or even better would be here and here. So maybe I play this move, and then, no, that hangs a pawn. So I think for now I'm going to go here. Develops a piece, and we're going to see what he does. Okay. So if I go here, he goes here. Maybe I can go here. Force him to go back to cover the pawn. And then... Not sure what we do after that. I like this move anyways, even if it doesn't... It just kind of gets my knight into a better spot and allows me to get my bishop into the game. Okay. I'm probably just going to kick the knight out of the way. Maybe I could have played... Okay. That blunders, because I can take here and then play knight here. And he has to deal with the fork, the queen, and losing the pawn at the same time. And I don't think he can handle all three threats. So here... I just probably take the pawn. I was briefly considering this move, but here I don't see a way for me to follow up, so we're going to take the pawn. Now we're threatening this pawn on the next turn. I can take here, or I can take here. So if I take here, he probably takes. And then if I take here, I'm threatening knight here, which would attack the queen and check the king, and I would win the queen in that line. Let's go for it. You know, the more problems you give your opponent to solve, the more likely they'll go wrong. So if you see a tactic here where if you move the knight with check and you win the queen, that's something you should definitely at least put on the board to see if they go wrong. Now, they actually solved their problem. They guarded the queen with the pawn. So now we have to find a new plan here. So I could give them a check. Notice they can't block with anything. If they block with the knight, I would take it with the queen, and that would be checkmate. So here, they probably just have to go like here. Hmm. Okay, so we gotta save our queen, so let's go here and give him a check. Save our queen with a forcing move that makes him have to move again. Now, maybe I can play b5 here. Um, just gaining more space, making him move the queen again. Running out of squares. I think he has to go here. We might be trapping his queen in this scenario because if he goes here, I think I have this. And the only option is to go back. And then I have knight here. And I think he has no more escape squares after that. And he is attacking us. Okay. But we have this with check. And actually, what was funny is we didn't even need to take that. We had mate in one right here. But I kind of got focused on winning the queen. And now I'll win on this turn. Yeah, see, the problem with this line is, you know, he like, this is probably the approach that they need to go for in general in this line if they go for it. But it's so awkward, and like they can never really play they want to play d5. Like, they probably need to play c6 and d5 to really try to hold on here. But this was kind of a waste of time for them. And I think they gave us a yeah, that, like, they should have just admit that never moving that knight in the first place, but then also, even if I got them kicked here, they should have just admitted their mistake and just went back. It's better to admit your mistake than do something even worse, in my opinion. And here, you know, bringing the queen out to where it can get attacked so many times, you know, if you keep finding moves that attack the queen, put them together. If I do this, the queen can only go here and here, and then, okay, I have this move. And then, you know, maybe you can trap the queen. Even if you can't, each time the queen has to move again, you get a free move to get another piece closer to doing something good. Now, that one I'm not going to analyze more in depth because I feel like we had a good grasp on that one. Got the French defense again. Okay, knight c3. And okay, we're in the exchange where they played knight c3. Okay, look. Basically the same line we just saw, except for No, it is the same line. So we get to put our analysis to the test to see if we can do better this time. Okay. Probably gonna play d4 eventually. Now they decided to try this now, which makes sense. They want to go this way. And also it allows them to um, stop bishop there, but we kind of already know we don't even want the bishop there. Okay, so I think so. The problem here is they're playing really slow, and this queen and king could potentially be a problem for them. So I'm kind of thinking about bishop here to lure him into like a move like this, and then I play this move, and then force him to move again, and then maybe I can play this move. Or maybe not even right away, but... So yeah, let's do this. See, while we were looking at the moves in the previous analysis, this idea became more of an option for us. So he's just going there right away. So I'm kind of considering what happens if we play c5. Maybe he pushes the pawn. But then we have knight here, and that could get really dangerous for him if he's not careful. So I think to really try to put pressure here, c5 is the way to go. I can also just take and damage his structure. But I can... Yeah, I think c5 is what I'm going to do. Since we have a chance to really attack him on the queen side and gain space, this is a moment where c5 makes some sense. Okay. So now I can play this move. And it does fork a piece. So if he takes, or if he goes here, I can take and then take his piece. I think that's what we're going to do. Okay, he's going here. Does that do anything? Our queen covers that, so he can't win the rook. I don't think our bishop can get attacked. So I'm going to go ahead and do it. So now we're going to trade a bishop for a pawn, so we'll be up 2 points here. Okay. Now I'm looking at rook here just to attack the queen again and get my rook in the game. Am I worried about queen here? Not really at the moment. I don't see any knight moves that could do anything. Now, if I kick the knight in general, what happens? Well, it looks like he can't go here because we would take it. We have a pawn. We could take it with the pawn. We can take it with the queen. We can take it with the queen. If he goes here, we can take it with the bishop. And either take will damage his structure. And in long term, I think that'll be good for us. So let's do that. Let's take a moment to see what he's doing with this first. A forcing move which kind of forces him to do something we want. This is why timing is so important. The reason why we lost that other game is because we gave them a lot more time to do things because we brought our bishop out. Okay. Now, I might be able to go queen here and try to win another pawn. Notice rook here, and this pawn is undefended right now. Was it undefended? No, it wasn't. Okay. So the downside here is by doing that, what we just did, this pawn's now hanging. So I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm looking at this move. It attacks the pawn, two pawns actually, and it just gets my queen closer to where it can possibly do something good. If he goes here, I could take another pawn if he takes, but it's important not to get carried away and remember to get your pieces in the game still. So here, he'll have triple pawns if he does that. That would look really bad for him, I think. Check. Maybe he goes here. Maybe I go bishop here. And what happens is now maybe queen here. So queen here, pawn here, bishop here. Okay. Do I want to win another pawn? Give him a triple pawn? Yeah, let's do it. All right. We went for the pawn. So now so in this scenario, he's going to have triple pawns to deal with, which long term could be a problem for him. If I play bishop here, he's probably going to play this. Now, in that scenario, I think because the bishop's here, I might be able to go knight here. So bishop here, bishop here. If I go knight here, if he takes, check. Oh, I don't think that works. Okay, so check. Oh, okay, I see a move. So check. If he goes here, we can have rook check. And that actually just wins the rook. Okay, he found a good resource that I didn't. I kind of played that a little fast here. So that's okay. We gotta get our queen to safety, so I'm probably just gonna bring it back. Now we're threatening the pawn. Again, maybe he goes here to try to defend it. He can't because the knight's pinned. So he might actually just be losing this pawn here. I like that because it guards the pawn, it attacks the rook, but I think this move kind of solves all the problems there. Now, ooh, I missed a detail too. I'm missing a lot of details today. It happens, but I could have played rook takes knight because the pawn is pinned to the king. Okay, so let me see if I do that now. And I take this as well. My queen and knight are going to be guarding this square. Also, I'm just attacking the queen, so maybe I just win the queen. That seems like the simplest approach. Duh. Sorry, I don't know what it is today. Maybe Not as caffeinated as I need to be. Okay. Well, now I can really cash in on that tactic. Let's see. Screw it. Let's go here. I have that covered. Luckily. Right. So I'm looking at probably just queen takes here is fine. Let's just do that. Wins another pawn, gets us closer. Right. Just take things with check and keep gobbling stuff. Just don't blunder to that move. If you're unsure, make a little move just to keep your guy safe. Okay. I'm just gonna take that. Alright. Now let's get my king safe. I just moved it 2 squares since it'll also help try to box in that king over there. Maybe I can even push it and take that guy. I'll end up having a really nice pass pawn up there. And if not, I'm winning the rook. Maybe. Maybe more. Yeah, I think this is just mate. Bishop controls there. Yeah, looks like this is the mate. GG. Alright, let's see. Here we went for the exchange variation. Unlike my last guy that beat me, he played this a lot slower. Not a lot slower. But that's the beauty of not putting the bishop here. Like, the time we wasted with putting the bishop here, we actually saved a lot more time and was able to do something else. Now here, castling queenside was probably not the play. Probably just needed to like do something about his knight. This is probably what I would, but then I have this. So that gets really dicey for him. Yeah, I think what my other guy did, like he got the pawn to d4, and that's why I think d4 is better because it stops c5, which you saw became a pretty annoying idea. Like because he and first I pinned him because I recognized that in these lines where the knight's here, bishop here can sometimes be a really good resource. And if I can combine that with c5 and d4, that could become a really big threat. And that's basically what happened. We won a piece early, and this was a good moment where we recognized the importance of forcing moves and gaining time against our opponent. This is kind of a useful move just to kick him out, where then we can damage his structure, force him into an awkward pawn structure. Now this part I kind of rushed a little bit, so good job on him for playing good on that part. Here I could have won the knight and rook. Not won the rook, probably trade, but that probably would have been lights out right there. But instead, he just blundered that, and the game kind of downfalled after that. So we now added a layer of opening understanding to our general setup against the French exchange. And now we're better equipped to handle any of those knight c3 lines. Alright, this game started off, he played, this is called the Chigorin defense. So, and we basically just developed and castled real quick. And now he's trying to attack us. So, we could play c4, try to break into the center with knight c3, and we'll probably do that. Now, he can take, which would force us to move our bishop twice. But he doesn't. Okay. So, let's see, options. You can go here or we can go here. The advantage of going here is if he takes, we might be able to take with the knight, which could be interesting. But, let's see. I think we're just going to develop naturally to knight c3 here. Okay. Now, I don't want to let him go all the way here. Long term, that pawn can be annoying. So I have the opportunity to kick the bishop and also stop that pawn and maybe give me an escape square at some point. And then what I'm going to do next, I'm going to go ahead and probably consider queen b3 since it attacks this. Maybe as this. So maybe I'll throw in this first. Okay. So if I take, does he have a way to come into the position is the question. Not really. You can't play knight here. The queen can't really come in, so I don't really think this is going to work out for my opponent here. Alright. Now, we got to be careful. We don't want to let our opponent... Right now our king is preventing that... Our knight is preventing the queen from infiltrating, so we want to keep it that way. So what I'm going to do... I think I want to go like here to try to get rid of that knight. I could also go here and do that. I think I'm going to take first. I think I might have an opportunity here to go here and try to win a pawn, I think. Or force him to get rid of his knight, which that knight is kind of annoying to us. So if he trades that off on his own, that would end up being good for us, I think. Now we're threatening to win a pawn. I don't know how he actually... Well, if he goes here, that's probably the only way that saves the pawn, I think, because... Okay, so here, forcing a queen trade would be really good for us. Yeah, so let's do it. If he goes here, that's actually really bad, because queen takes is with check. Okay, well that loses. So how do we take? Let's be precise here. I can take with the knight, but then he has this. So we're gonna take with the queen, which keeps an eye on that square. And then I see, okay, bishop here, he might castle, but then we win another piece. Yeah, I like that. So let's pin this knight to the king, and the bishop and queen are working together. So the only thing defending it's the queen, and that's probably going to end up being bad for my opponent here. Can't go here, I have that covered. Can't go here, I have that covered. Things are looking good. Sorry if these games I've been talking a little fast. I think today I'm just off in general. I don't know why. Okay. Now I can play queen here. And if he doesn't trade queens, then I just checkmate him on the next turn. Bishop takes. Yeah, I'm going to play queen takes. Either we get a queen trade, or I'm going to check. Because I think I have queen here. Yeah, queen here is mate. Because the bishop controls these squares, the queen would control all these squares. GG. Okay. Yeah, this is called the Chigorin defense. So when white doesn't, when your opponent doesn't move the e pawn right away into the center, the second usual option is going to be the d pawn instead. And when you see this, there's a lot of different setups they can go for. The Chigorin, you can tell it's the Chigorin, Chigorin, because they move the knight in front of the c-pawn. The c-pawn's trapped. And if you ever see this here, this is called the Chigorin. And it's interesting. And what's interesting is I think almost every opponent we faced so far put the knight in front of the pawn. And the drawback is it's hard to get this pawn in the game to help join the fight. But this knight could prove to be really active and attack us quickly if we're not careful. Now we did our normal setup. This is what we do whenever they play the d5 pawn. We get our e3, d4, knight f3, bishop e2, castle. And then we start expanding on the queen side with c4. And I use that moment. See, I didn't rush to do it here because I was a little nervous over the idea of maybe, like if he goes here, for example, if I take that and I try to move my knight out of the way, he might be able to bring the queen over like that and try to checkmate me really quickly. So sometimes it's better to just keep developing and then wait for... See, now I don't mind because I thought, well, now he can't bring the... This pawn's just gonna... This pawn ends up becoming more of a problem for them because their rook can't capture their own piece, so they're stuck behind that pawn for a little while, which is going to slow down their play. And this sacrifice didn't really work because they have no way to bring this queen or rook into the game, really. So that was really just... And we quickly took advantage from there. Right here, he needed to take our knight. He could have at least stayed in the game if he did that. But now, we were, like, crushing him from here. And... honestly, like, if he didn't play h5, I mean, even h5 was fine. Like, personally, if you do that, like, and if you're gonna push like this, you really need to be aware of how easy it is to infiltrate on the king side. And if you see it's really tough, then you don't want to sacrifice a piece there, because it's really going to be hard for you to break through and actually checkmate me, because my pieces are defending the squares you need to get over there. And as the guy that's getting attacked, you have to have the same mindset. You have to be like, well, okay, I see potentially he can, with this move, what's the likelihood of his queen getting into the game and getting of me getting attacked quickly? Okay, so maybe if this so the only way that can happen is if this knight moves. And if he does, I mean, if he tries to take this way, then what'll happen is he won't have a sacrifice. Like he can't. Now there's nothing to take, so it's like this pawn's gonna be stuck here, and no bishop to sacrifice. All right, on to the next game. GG. All right, he's playing f4. Okay, this is a sign he's probably gonna want to attack us on the king side, probably. But we're just gonna play our usual setup here. All right, got our setup. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just expand on the queen side. Probably c3 is a very common move here, just to really secure their structure. Nope, they're playing that. So if I take here now, maybe this pawn's going to be weak long term. I could try to take advantage of that, maybe. Otherwise, they take with the knight, and then these pawns will be a little weak for the game. I could just play knight c6 and see what he does next. I might do that. Okay, now that move looks a little weird. Takes... Now he has to... Well, now I can force him to have a pawn here. Maybe I can even go bishop here. I'm not seeing it really. So pawn takes. Maybe knight here. Okay, what if I go queen here? I attack the knight. But if you move, I don't think that does anything either. So takes. I can force him to have a pawn here. I'm not sure I want that yet. Maybe here? Takes, takes, takes. So, maybe I go here. Maybe I can also just do this. Potentially I want the queen here, and... Actually, no. Not sure. Knight here, potentially just to attack this. Hold on. Pawn takes, bishop here, bishop here, maybe queen here next. And he would have to move... I don't know. When in doubt, just make a useful move. So maybe... I'm going to go here and here. I want to restrict his possibilities of moving these pieces on my side of on the queen side. Okay, now I can take here. So I think... Let's be precise now. Yeah, let's just take. So we just won a pawn. And okay, he's pushing that guy. I take here. He can take here, but then I win another pawn. So I'm going to be up 2 pawns in that line. Without really damaging my structure too much. Okay. I could take that. We're up a piece, so trading could be good for us. I also think this move makes sense. It really slows down this pawn. Prevents the queen coming here, which could have caused some problems for us. Alright. Now I could even potentially push this if I wanted to. Maybe I can go here and try and force a trade. If he doesn't want to, I think he has to go here. Okay, if I take, he probably takes this way. But then I have this. Okay, I like that. Just keep an eye on this square. That's probably like the only attacking point that he has from there. Nope, he went the other way. Interesting, alright. So now queen check, he can just move out of the way. Alright, let's go after that bishop. You silly Frankenstein! Her name's Frankie, but we call her Frankenstein. Because it's silly. We're silly. Yes, we are. Okay. So now... This pawn's really dangerous here. So... We don't want to lose it. So probably just here's what we want to do. Just really secure our pawn. Because this guy's really close to becoming a queen, and there's no pawns that can stop him. So that's considered a passed pawn. Long term, if everything gets traded off, this is going to be a really big, important piece for us, I think. Probably going to go here. Maybe line up my bishop and queen along this diagonal. Threaten some potential bishop and queen ideas. If he goes queen here, I might just go queen here and trade. Okay. Gotta be careful. I see he's trying to line this up. And it also stops any potential queen or bishop infiltration. So let's take a moment to open up a line of defense against for this pawn. So now when he comes here, I can just defend it. Now, how do I want to defend it? Is the question. I think I'm going to go here. Seems reasonable. Probably bring my rook over next. Okay. Moving my rook because it was getting attacked. And now the rook is also protecting this square, which will make it easier for me to move my queen around. Now I can actually put my queen here and maybe threaten this. Now that the rook is now taken care. Okay. So they would have to sack the queen, rook takes, and I'm not sure if he's quick enough for that. You have this. If he goes here, I can bring another rook in the game. If he goes here, I might do this. And this is his only escape square. So let's see. Check. He has to go here. Actually, no, sorry. Check, he has to go here. Check. If I go here, and I go there. Okay, I think this check is pretty good. Okay. So next we go here. Okay, capture another pawn with check. Okay, now I can bring a rook into the game. I'm not even going to calculate that one because Getting another piece into the game like that's probably going to be game over. Rook here and queen here seems like the way to go. GG. Okay. They played that a little weirdly. I think this move was kind of a mistake. Usually they have to play c6, and they actually end up wrapping the bishop around like this at some point, and then trying to attack us on the king side. It's called a stonewall, is the name of this setup for either side can go for it. And the problem is it's kind of slow, so it gives the opponent an opportunity to maybe break it down. But it's definitely playable. Okay, this doesn't really have an opening. It kind of will resemble the Queen's Gambit decline eventually if he goes e6. Okay, if I play c4, it's going to open up his bishop. Do I want to allow that? Sure. So I think if he takes either way, we're going to take back with a piece. Unless if he goes knight here, then I might consider... Okay, so now we're going to take here first. And I think we're going to go... You can go bishop here, and then knight here. Or I can just focus more... Yeah, I think we're going to do that, because I'm not really sure where I'm putting this bishop yet. Can't really go here. Can't go here. So let's pin the knight and potentially create another good square, a good square for my knight, maybe. Alright, so either queen here or knight here. Both seem like they do the same thing. So queen here. So I think knight here makes more sense because I have more options of where I want to put the queen, technically. Okay, I don't think that works. Yeah, I think knight takes here is losing a piece. He had to block with the queen or the rook in that line. Because now the only thing guarding was the bishop. If he moves the knight again, I can move the knight with check. If he tries to go after my bishop, I can take the queen. So the big problem here is the fact that the knight's now attacking the queen. Yeah, and that was kind of a self-destruct there. I think positionally it was okay for him. I mean, you know. But I started building some pressure here. I'm castled, he's not. So maybe he, like before pushing with c5, like he did, he should have focused on getting castled first. But that was a quick game, so we can just move on to the next one. Okay. Playing a weird move, but that's all good. We're just going to play our setup anyways. Even against the weird moves, we're going to continue our setup. Okay. It's like they're doing our same setup, except for they have... Okay. Now, I feel like this is a more active square, and he hasn't put any pieces in the game yet, so I'm just going to put that there. Okay. Let's see. What do I want to do next? I don't want a castle, because it seems like that's where all of his pieces are so far. So let me go ahead. I'm just going to bring my knight into the center. I kind of want to tempt him to play f3 because I have this weird check idea that seems like it could be something interesting. I could also potentially have like an idea like this. Okay, he's going there. So he might be able to take and double my structure. Yeah. I probably shouldn't have put the knight there so early. This is why you don't move your pieces more than once in the opening. So now I kind of have to play f5 to make sure my pawn structure isn't too ugly here. Yeah, we kind of... This is an example of why we should focus on getting pieces out. We kind of got carried away like right here instead of going for this. I think we could have just played c5 and kept building up our... just getting more pieces in the game. Okay. I'm going to take this way because when I castle, my rook is going to be on an open lane. And that seems pretty good for us. And it doesn't look like he has any way to really break through on this side. Now, castle. Castle, and if he takes here, maybe I can go queen. No, I can't. Okay, so I need to do something here. I'm gonna secure my pawn structure here. What happens if I do that? Isn't that just a free piece? Looks like it. Okay. Now we're gonna castle. Get our rook on the open lane. Probably play queen here next. Threaten checkmate right here. And yep, GG. Kind of the reason why I went for the mate is because it seemed like he was collapsing, and usually if you can kind of get that indication, then you should definitely like put a little checkmate threat out there. Even because I mean, even if we don't get the checkmate, our queen's going to be really well there anyways, so we didn't really do anything wrong in that position. All right, this is the exchange French where they played the knight in front of the pawn, which is important. These are the type of lines where they like to attack us. So I'm going to just kind of do the same setup we've been doing with that. Yep, see, I anticipated that. Now, let's see. Okay, let's see what he does with this bishop. Okay, so now, why did I do this? So, if I could get the bishop over here, I could maybe line up the rook and have a tactic there, but he kind of saw it. But even so, now we have this bishop lined up over here. And I think long term, this is going to be good for us because we're getting a quick attack on the queen side. Okay. I see a tactic I'm going to try to go for here. If we chop off this guy, bishop here pins the queen to the king. If you can tell, I'm playing these games a little faster because that one loss kind of like took a lot of time. And my little mini goal here was to get over 12. So there we just played solid and he kind of fell for a tactic. We used our knight, our loss to really boost our understanding of that exchange variation. Up. Wait. Whew. I got to abort that game. I played the wrong pawn move. Whew, that was close. Good thing we got a mulligan there. Okay, we got the advanced variation. Okay, just gonna develop my pieces normally. Try to get my knight over here potentially, maybe. Or I can try to play f3 to break down that structure, but I don't think I'm gonna do that. I think for now, we're just gonna focus on simple development here. It seems like he's gonna try to play this. So I'm gonna make all the moves to kind of prepare for that. I might also consider playing this instead, and that will create some squares potentially for my knight. So if I play knight here now, maybe he plays this. Okay, I'm going to push the pawn, I think. This permanently prevents him from pushing. Okay, now he played that, which long term, this pawn's going to be really annoying for him. Now if I go here, maybe he does this. Okay. If I go here, he's going to go here. I'm not seeing where I put the bishop yet. Knight here, I don't see what it does. Now, if we have a piece supporting this pawn, we could push it, and that might be annoying for him. So maybe if I get a rook here eventually. I don't know how I do that. Maybe knight here. And if he pushes, I can take this pawn. And if he takes this guy, bishop takes would be good. Alright, I'm just going to do this and castle. Okay. So what do we do next? You're trying to play f3, which would try to open up my rook. I think I like that plan, just to get another piece in the game. And if I can move this pawn, then the bishop can get in the game as well. Okay. I think we're winning a pawn here. Knight takes. I think we have to throw rook takes in at the end, I think. We should at least, because we don't want to waste time. Probably. Oh, no, we blundered. Shoot. I blundered. Bishop takes. He didn't see it. Yeah, bishop takes would hold on to the piece. Yeah, I'm playing a little too fast here. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. Now, I'm going to try to get this bishop in the game. He's probably going to go knight there. But I don't know where he goes after that. Maybe I can chop that knight off eventually. But we definitely got to get our bishop and rook in the game. I could maybe start off with the rook move, just to get a little time. Always, I think starting off with the most forcing moves usually will work out the best. Not always, but you never know. Okay. Uh, um, let's see now. Yeah, let's just get our bishop next. Now, if he plays knight there, I will take it, because if he takes with pawn, this pawn's going to be a passed pawn, and that could be a really good piece for us down the line. Okay, that's what he's doing. We're just going to take that. Now, I do have this move. What does he do when I do that? If he goes here, I can take it and win a pawn. I think first, let me attack the pawn. this is a really important piece long term, so I'm not going to be really quick to give it away. Okay. What happens if I go here? Let's just find out. Okay. So now, what do we got? Ooh, we have a nice tactic. So queen takes pawn. And we're threatening the rook. We're threatening the queen. If the queen takes us, we have that. We have a rook checkmate at the end. And he can't really block with the bishop. Yeah, he can. Sorry. I was thinking I could take it, but... Okay, and now he just loses the queen and the game. GG. Alright. Alright. Today... Let's see. We did the advance. Now, if they don't... If they're too slow with pushing for d5, we push for d5. And that really kind of weakens their whole pawn structure here. It's hard for him to hold on to this side because these guys can't support it. And we saw one of the important pawn breaks in the French defense. C5 is usually one of them, but F3 or F6 can really be an important one in certain moments. Here, this was huge because we just broke open our rook and we ended up winning a pawn. And that kind of was where it all went downhill for my opponent. Yeah, and pretty much from there we just got our pieces to good squares. We got our passed pawn, which long term that would have been a really good advantage for us. And we actually had the same tactic I said earlier here. So I missed it in this moment. But now I found it, and now we made it. All right. This is it. We're going to try to get to 1200 today here at this moment. Now, knight here, he's probably going to kick our knight. So let's go ahead and start with the bishop. And I might actually consider knight here just to go ahead and avoid any problems. Okay. Now he's attacking us pretty quickly here. So maybe now's the time where we can consider castling queenside if we want to. We can also just play this and attack the pawn. Okay, I kind of like that because, so the way I'm thinking of this is here, if he goes here, we have this, and then this. And when he comes here, if I take, it's going to make him have a really awkward pawn structure that I think I can take advantage of. So first, we go here, because we want to tempt him into... Okay, now he's just giving us the pawn. Before we do, we're just going to throw this move in first. Now I can do this, but I think I'm going to take the pawn first. Chop this, and then play this. So we're up a pawn. Do I want to take? Well, it gets their bishop in the game. I don't know if I want to do that. This knight's really not doing much, so let's keep our bishop for now. Plus, being up a pawn isn't everything yet, so Now what I'm going to do, I'm not moving this pawn. I'm going to move the knight and castle queenside, I think. Just because there's a lot of open stuff going on our king side, I think we're going to try out castle and queenside. Pawn takes, pawn takes. Can also go knight here, which would give him an ugly structure. I like that. Now what I can do is I can go here. So I can take and then go here, which would threaten this guy and this guy. But then maybe you could play c6. All right, let's do here first. Okay. Pawn takes or knight takes. I play knight. I think I'm just going to go pawn takes. That way we have a lot more control over the center. And that's how we lose the queen. Okay, we're down a queen, guys. Alright. Now, how to come back down a queen? Well, you don't want to give in trades. We're down material, so we're going to look to keep pieces on the board. Maybe try to get a little bit of a time edge if we can. Okay. And the goal here is to go ahead and just try to create a lot of complications in the position where it's easier for my opponent to go wrong. Like here. Boom. Now we just saved 3 points. If they take here, we're gonna win that rook and potentially win even more. You gotta be careful here. So maybe I go here. I take, probably plays bishop takes. I have to go up. Okay, let's do it. Okay, my plan is to get my king here, where it holds on to the pawn. And then I'm probably going to make a move like this next. Okay. I'm just going to kick that guy out of there. Okay, he sacked another piece. So now, if you notice, we're doing a little bit better here. Not quite perfect yet. Alright, can I go here? No, so, rook here, bishop here, rook takes. Okay, no, I can't do that yet. What do we do instead? Can I go here? No. Maybe I go bishop here. Okay. So I think this wins us back. Now we're up 2 points. So now we're doing okay here. Now, okay. Now we're up 4 points. Okay, he's threatening this move. Can I go knight here? No, he would take that, I think. So I have this, but he can take. What if I just go here, just to not blunder my guy there? Okay. Let's bring my knight into the center. Also attack the queen. If he lines up along this diagonal, I'm gonna have this, which would win the queen. I also have knight here, which will win the queen as well. If he takes here, I have this check, which would also win the queen. And actually, he can't even take back because he's going to get mated there. And he got mated. Woo! Man, that was bad. We went down a queen, but especially you guys, I would never resign, even if you're down a queen yet. We're at a level where things can definitely go wrong for your opponent still. Not to say that they're bad or anything, it's just you gotta at least make them work for the finish. Now, I think before we were really doing good here, but I guess I'm playing too fast. I'm talking too fast, and I was careless and made this move. And this is why rushing your moves is bad. Now, but this just goes to show how good my position was before it happened. See, I essentially had all my pieces in the game. Mine, like maybe this rook could be over here, but like I had a lot of, and the general thing to keep in mind is in this moment when you lose a piece and you're down, you definitely don't want to trade. You want to keep pieces on the board, and you want to look to make the game as complicated as possible to give yourself a chance to turn it around. So I dropped the bishop back. Okay, I mean, that kind of was a waste of time. I kicked the knight, and he gave it to me. So that's already, you know, I'm already starting to go in the right direction there. 2 points is usually good. Now this pawn's hanging, so I ended up covering it with the king. And he gave me another piece. So now the material is down to 1. And I saw that maybe I could win something here, maybe. But honestly, he could have just done this, I think. And he still would have been fine. He's still up a pawn in that line, so maybe that wasn't the right approach for me. But he gave me more material, and now it was just really it was pretty much over after that. Um, Eventually, the pieces can overpower the queen if you have enough of them. And that's kind of what happened here. These knights and bishops really caused havoc for my opponent here. All right, we made it to 12:06. There's two important lessons that we learned here today, I think. Lesson number 1, patience. Take your time. Don't rush through your moves like I just did. I think that could have there can be a lot of losses like that because you're rushing your moves and you're not thinking things through all the way. And hey, you saw it firsthand how that can potentially backfire. I got lucky here that I was able to outplay him down a queen, but that against someone that's higher rated, that I'm probably not gonna have that same. I'm probably gonna lose those games against someone that's higher rated because they're they got the experience that they need to win when they're up a queen. You know, like they could probably take that position, right? And be like, well, see, the problem is they kind of went haywire here. See, you don't when you win material, you don't want to go crazy. It's actually the opposite. You want to like try to maintain as much control of the position as you can. So, like I would be like priority number 1 for white would be the castle queen side. So, I would try to play like c3. Now maybe I can play this, but I would probably just let that happen. Maybe you take. Let's see. Well, I'm threatening to take here, so he has to take at least once. And then maybe he can throw in a move like this and attack this knight, this bishop. It's still kind of complicated, but at least he's freeing up more pieces and potentially castling queenside. If I don't do that, like if I make a wasteful move like this, for example, then now he's castling queenside. And now I feel like white has a lot more control over the position, and it's a lot harder. Now what he's going to do is he's going to look for trades. And so maybe he'll push this, where either I have to trade pawns or whatever. You know, maybe I have to go here to avoid that, but still, I can go here anyways and force a trade. And now, you know, I'm starting to break through and trade, and look how white's position is a little bit more active here compared to the previous position where all his pieces were kind of compact and they were kind of on top of each other. And he basically made these crazy moves versus trying to maintain control of the position. When you're winning the game, you want to maintain as much control. I know I said that probably 5 times already, but I'm sorry, guys. I tend to ramble sometimes. This is one of those moments where I'm rambling, so I'm going to try to wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much for watching. We got to 12:06 today. A little rough, but we got there. Suffered our first loss. But, you know, we learned a lot from it. In the French variation of the exchange variation of the French, we learned what to do against any lines with knight c3 and castle queenside. Now we got the 12:06, so starting tomorrow, we're actually going to go ahead and start doing puzzle rushes to 30. I'm going to start solving the puzzles a little bit faster. Probably not explain it as much, because the last few videos kind of did that. So now we're going to try to focus more on the more complicated puzzles and what you need to do to solve those. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. I'll see you again later. Bye!